Top secret bombshell. Reports President Trump revealed highly classified intelligence to the Russians in the Oval Office, jeopardizing a critical source on ISIS. The White House now in damage control mode.
I was in the room. It didn't happen.
As Democrats demand transcripts of the meeting, and a top Senate Republican says the White House is in a downward spiral.
New clues in that massive cyber attack. Was North Korea behind the hack, hitting 150 countries and more than 300,000 computers, compromising hospitals, factories, railroads, and more? And what we're now learning about the ransom.
New surveillance video of that deadly plane crash, capturing a Learjet plummeting from the sky, slamming into buildings, erupting into a fireball near an airport just outside New York City. 2 on board killed. The investigation now on what brought this private jet down.
And first on GMA, the newly crowned Miss USA here live. The nuclear scientist breaking her silence about that firestorm over what she said on the pageant stage about health care and feminism. What she wants America to know this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. A very busy Tuesday morning. So much fallout from that report that President Trump revealed highly classified info to the Russian foreign minister ambassador during that White House meeting last week.
Let's explain what's at stake right now. This is information about the fight against ISIS that is so sensitive that the U.S. doesn't even share it with our allies. It could jeopardize the source of the secret. If true, this could be the most significant and dangerous mistake of the Trump presidency.
And we've got our incredible team standing by, and they're covering every angle.
And we begin at the White House with our senior correspondent, Cecilia Vega, who was there for all the fallout all through the night. Good morning, Cecilia.
A long night indeed, George, here. The presidents, as you know, are legally allowed to declassify information. The bigger question here right now is, did President Trump reveal classified intelligence that could jeopardize the source of that information and risk critical intelligence sharing agreements with some of our closest allies? This morning, the White House in damage control mode. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster stepping up to the cameras, denouncing the Washington Post report that claims President Trump disclosed extremely sensitive intelligence during last week's meeting with Russian officials.
At no time were intelligence sources or methods discussed. And the president did not disclose any military operations that were not already publicly known. I was in the room. It didn't happen.
He left without taking questions.
Thank you.
But McMaster did not directly address the key finding of that report, that the president shared highly classified information that could compromise a key source of intelligence on ISIS. The reverberations still being felt from that bombshell, that classified intelligence allegedly about an ISIS plot in Syria. The Post says it was given to the U.S. by a partner and is so sensitive that not even allies have access to it. The president reportedly boasting to the Russians about his briefings and inside knowledge. Aides were so concerned, the Post says they asked that the controversial portion be stricken from internal memos and for the full transcript to be limited to a small circle of recipients. Opponents pounced, pointing to then candidate Trump on the campaign trail and his tough words about Hillary Clinton's handling of classified intelligence.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information.
This morning, the Washington Post reporters behind that explosive report defending it.
Many sources we've talked to in covering this administration are concerned about how intelligence and classified, sensitive information is treated and handled. We stand by our story 100%.
They are definitely standing by their story. Now, the timing of this report could not be worse for this administration. Of course, it falls on the heels of the White House's bungled firing of the FBI director. After this story broke here last night, we heard yelling behind closed doors here in this West Wing. Robin, this is a White House in chaos right now.
That's right, Cecilia. Reaction pouring in from Capitol Hill, where there seems to be a bipartisan consensus that the report, if true, is deeply troubling. Our congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, in Washington. Mary, what are the lawmakers saying?
Robin, this morning, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want answers. Democrats and Republicans were quick to criticize and raise questions. Lawmakers who I've talked with describe this as troubling, disturbing, and shocking. The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee calling this a slap in the face to the intelligence community. Even a top Trump ally, Senator Bob Corker, the chair of the Foreign Relations Committee, says the White House needs to get its act together, saying the White House has got to do something soon to bring itself under control. Obviously, they're in a downward spiral right now, and they've got to figure out a way to come to grips with all that's happening.
And Mary, there are calls for lawmakers to now be briefed on what the president allegedly said.
Yeah, what happened in this meeting now tops Congress's growing list of Russia-related questions. The top Democrats on several key committees are asking for the National Security Advisor or intelligence leaders to come and brief members so they can get to the bottom of this. Robin, even the Republican Speaker of the House is calling for a full explanation.
As you said,
Robin.
both sides of the aisle. Thank you, Mary.
So much fallout. We're going to break it all down now with our entire team. We have our Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, and John Cohen, who is a top intelligence counterterrorism official in the Department of Homeland Security, along with our Chief White House correspondent, John Karl, our Chief Legal Analyst, Dan Abrams. And Martha, let me begin with you and that statement from General McMaster, the National Security Advisor, last night. In some ways, a classic non-denial denial.
That's exactly what it sounded like to me, George. You know, a source is who you got the information from. The method is how you got it. Was it wiretapping? Was it a human being? And that's the scary part. If they figure out who it was, is that person's life in jeopardy? But the bottom line is that it can hurt us. It can put us at risk because in the future, that country may not share because they're scared it will come out. Now, again, McMaster said that Donald Trump did not reveal sources and methods, but apparently, according to the Post, he revealed enough that someone might be able to figure out who those sources are, who those methods are.
Perhaps even the location of where this plot was being hatched by ISIS. Let me bring in John Cohen for more on that right now. You served in the counterterrorism agencies. You served in Homeland Security. Talk about the level of classification we were seeing here, how sensitive this information was.
Good morning, George. We're talking about some of the most sensitive information the U.S. government has. When information like this is provided by a foreign government, it's only shared on a limited basis with people in the U.S. government. And it certainly is not shared broadly with people outside the U.S. government. So this is a major, major problem if it's in fact true.
And the additional problem, John, of the fact that it's being given to the Russians, who of course, are close to Iran.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the Russians are an adversary power. They may have tried to interfere with our election, at least according to the intelligence community. So it's somewhat mind-boggling to me that we would share this highly sensitive information, putting at risk very important relationships with our allies with the Russians.
And Dan Abrams, as the point that City made at the top, the president can do whatever he wants with classified information. It is not illegal for the president to reveal this. It would be for anyone else in the government.
Anybody else in the government. And you'd be talking about the possibility of a serious crime, depending on whether someone believed that it was intentional or not. But the president has the ability, as a legal matter, to declassify anything at any time. The way that the classification system is set up, in effect, is for the president. And so the president can then make that decision. But as you point out, anyone else, and we'd be talking about this in a very different context.
And John Karl, we're hearing for the first time on this from the president himself. Just in the last couple of minutes, he's been tweeting.
Yes, one tweet so far. George looks like he's in the middle of a thought, but he says, as president, I wanted to share with Russia at an openly scheduled White House meeting, which I have the absolute right to do, facts pertaining ... I assume he means facts pertaining to a plot that would affect the Russians. And that is an important point here, George, is that we do share classified information with the Russians on counterterrorism quite frequently. And if there was a plot that could also affect the Russians, there is also an obligation to share that information.
Right, and Martha, I want to bring that point to you because one of the big questions here is going to be whether the president did this deliberately or at some level didn't know what he was doing. Some of the people who were with the president in the meeting said that they came out thinking that nothing was amiss.
Yes, a senior official I talked to said that they did not think anything said in that meeting was wrong. But the big question is then why did someone go to the NSA? Why did someone go to the CIA to do damage control? And what the U.S. shares with Russia is often very, very limited. That's also something we have to ask about.
Lots of questions now coming from Capitol Hill. John Cohen, and at issue is going to be what kind of record actually exists of this meeting. Oftentimes, meetings like this are transcribed in the White House. I spoke with one White House official who said there wasn't a transcript of this meeting, simply notes.
Yeah, typically, George, in these types of meetings, there is a note taker. It'll probably be a note taker that has the language skills to be able to understand what the person meeting with the president is actually saying without having to rely on a translator. So there are notes. A transcript can be made from those notes. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a transcript that existed of this meeting, particularly now.
And of course, members of the Congress, members of the Senate are going to demand all of any records of that meeting.
And we're going to bring in, George, our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross. And your sources are really concerned about this report.
This morning, they believe this could lead to clues that could lead to the uncovering of an informant, a human source inside ISIS, who has been vital in detecting plots that they were working on.
Far from over. And there are also new developments in the cyber attack that affected 150 countries. We're hearing that North Korea has a play in this?
They appear to be the chief culprit here. Law enforcement authorities and intelligence agencies around the world saying the track could lead to North Korea, that the computer code that produced the so-called WannaCry attack with these ominous messages appears to have similarities to the code used by North Korea in an attack on international banks last year. It could be someone else using North Korean code, researchers say, but the country has a long record of computer criminality. And while there's still no official attribution of who was behind this massive attack, the tally of targets continues to grow. More than 300,000 in 150 countries. Auto plants, factories, railroads around the world, and FedEx in the U.S. were all hit.
Has anybody paid this ransom?
Well, some people have. About 243 people, we're told, appear to have followed the hackers' directions to pay $300 or more to have their files freed. But officials say none of those companies got the key to get their files back, so that was a kind of a second scam.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. Michael?
All right, thank you, Robin. We're going to turn now to the new video of that plane crash showing a Learjet slamming into buildings near an airport just outside of New York City. ABC's Lindsay Janice is on the scene in Carlstadt, New Jersey. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Michael. It was a terrifying scene. That 8-seater small private plane coming in for what appeared to be a routine landing, then bursting into flames just seconds before the pilot communicating with the control tower, and everything seemed fine.
New video overnight showing that deadly plane crash. The aircraft plummeting out of the sky, crashing and erupting into a ball of flames.
Tower, Learjet just crashed.
At 3:30 p.m., the Learjet was less than 1 mile from the runway at New Jersey's Teterboro Airport, when eyewitnesses say the plane lost control, flipping over and slamming into 3 buildings.
It hit 3 buildings. They're just pieces of the plane, like all throughout our yard. Melted cars that were parked here. It's really almost impossible to describe.
Moments before the crash, communications with the pilots sounded normal.
Are you going to start that turn? Yes, sir. We're doing it right now. 46 off.
But just seconds later, the plane spirals out of the sky.
Airport's closed. Airport's closed. Everyone just stop taxiing right now. Request for a mutual aid ambulance in Carlstadt, scene of a plane crash into a building.
Rescue teams racing to the scene.
Both pilots died in that crash, but incredibly, no one on the ground was injured. In fact, Michael, one of those main buildings hit had closed just 30 minutes before the crash, with all the workers having gone home for the day. Michael?
All right, scary situation. Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, Michael, we're going to turn now to that new video. The plane new developments now in yet another fraternity hazing death, this time in New York's Baruch College, where 4 members have pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter after a pledge died during a hazing ritual. ABC's Gio Benitez is outside the college with the story. Good morning, Gio.
George, good morning to you. The students from this campus rented a home in the Poconos for this pledge party. That's when everything went downhill, and this morning we have guilty pleas. Overnight, 4 former Pi Delta Psi fraternity brothers from Baruch College pleading guilty for their roles in the hazing death of 19-year-old Chun Michael Den.
He needed emergency attention, and they delayed for several hours.
Authorities say in December 2013, Deng participated in a hazing ritual called the glass ceiling, where pledges run across a frozen field blindfolded and wearing a 30-pound backpack while fraternity members shove and take the pledges down. Police say the hazing was harder on Deng than anyone else, calling the event brutal, saying that after he was speared during a tackle, he complained about his head hurting before he was eventually knocked out. Police say the students waited more than an hour before driving him to the hospital 45 minutes away. But in that time, authorities say they did make one phone call to the National Fraternity president, who told the brothers to hide all fraternity items. Police say that during that time, some members changed Deng's clothing and conducted internet searches for phrases like concussion, can't wake up, and pupils don't dilate. Deng's official cause of death, multiple traumatic injuries. The forensic pathologist assigned to this case says the delay in treatment significantly contributed to the death.
This was not an intentional act. This is a tragedy for all concerned.
And these former students will now likely face 2 to 3 years in prison, but a judge could sentence them to up to 27 years in prison, George.
Okay, Gio, thanks very much. Now, Amy's here with today's other top stories. Wait, these horrific images from Syria.
They are indeed, and we begin with those new claims of mass atrocities in Syria. The State Department says these satellite images show a crematorium where the regime of Bashar al-Assad tried to cover up mass executions, burning the bodies of detainees. Up to 50 people are reportedly executed per day. This morning, the Syrian government denied the accusations just as new peace talks begin today. Well, the Trump administration has angered Israel's government days before the president's trip to the Middle East. While planning the president's visit to the Western Wall, a Trump aide claimed the wall is part of the West Bank. The Israelis protested, saying they were astonished at the remark. The White House says the statement does not reflect official U.S. policy. Well, a shocking discovery on a remote island in the South Pacific. Scientists have found 38 million pieces of trash, most of it plastic, washed up on Henderson Island. That's 18 tons of trash. The island is thousands of miles from the nearest city and is on the edge of ocean currents that carry floating trash. Well, major cuts could be looming at Ford. The company is reportedly looking to reduce its global workforce by about 10% after profits plunged in the first quarter. And Bill Cosby saying racism may very well be a factor in his sexual abuse case. During a new interview, Cosby also claims his accusers are, quote, piling on to turn public opinion against him. His trial begins next month. And finally, a dad in Seattle has become a hero for thousands of local school kids. Jeffrey Liu launched a GoFundMe campaign to pay off the school lunch debt of every family with a child in Seattle public schools to stop what's called school lunch shaming. His effort inspired people to give. He needed $21,000 to cover all of the outstanding debt. Well, in just 6 days, he raised $23,000. And I love it because it started, he wanted to cover the bills of his son's elementary school kids. And then it just expanded from there.
Wonderful.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Needed to hear that.
Very nice.
Thank you so much, Amy. Some severe weather in the plains there, Ginger.
Oh, and you know, so much in the past 24 hours, more than 130 severe storm reports. This stunning light show in the panhandle of Texas. You can see that lightning blowing through there. A lot of those storms were on the dry line. Then another part of the storm, the pocket here, bouncing hail off this driveway in Madison, Wisconsin. So a lot of people are going to be affected. There's actually a huge area at risk today that comes along both that stationary and cold front and dry line, stretching from the Canadian border all the way to Mexico. Really the region I want you to focus in on western Kansas, western Oklahoma. I was just looking at some of the variables. Something called lifted index, which tells us about big hail possible, and tornadoes, especially in this region today, this afternoon and evening. Let's go ahead and get to your Tuesday trivia now, brought to you by the Ashley Home Store.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's Great American Memorial Day event with red, white, and bold savings. Up to 25% or 60 months no interest. Save on indoor and outdoor room packages. This beautiful outdoor dining set. Reclining sofas. Save on beds. For a limited time, get 96 months no interest on Tempur-Pedic and Serta Eye Comfort, starting at just $25 a month at the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in North America. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
We're in for another gorgeous day after highs yesterday in the 70s, low humidity. We had a bit of a breeze today. Those winds calm, still feeling good. But tomorrow, Thursday, and even into Friday, the humidity will soar, and it's going to get a little bit sticky out there. It's going to feel a little bit more summertime like out there. 81 today, not too shabby, but look at this as we head towards the end of the week. We're talking about temperatures in the 90s. 93 on Wednesday, 91 on Thursday. Could be an isolated storm or two on Thursday. Best chances Friday. Scattered showers and storms will make for a cooler start to the weekend.
Show of hands. Who wants a touch of 90s this week?
Me.
Hey!
That's unanimous.
Ask and you shall receive, my friends. It's going to happen.
Love you, Ginger. Yes. Coming up here on GMA, the fiance of former NFL star Aaron Hernandez.